live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to a very special new show on the Venture Maidens channel. It's Call of Cthulhu. You may have noticed that things look different because we're not playing Dungeons and Dragons today. We are playing a totally god.
Oh, I'm gonna
let me just throw away all these dice and notes. We're gonna be playing Call of Cthulhu, the 7th edition version from Chaosium, which is a very, very cool role-playing game all about horror and spoopy stuff and set in a quasi-real world. We are going to be playing in 1920 San Francisco. So, I'm not a historian by any means, but we're going to do our best to bring you a little taste of realism to the world. But I am very, very excited to have all of these wonderful folks around me today. I think we've got a really very good cast here, and I'm really excited to begin this journey. Just as a note, this is going to be a 5-episode series. So this is one of 5, and then that's it. The campaign is ending. People may still be alive. They may not. I don't know. It's only 5 episodes. Who knows? This game has some sort of dark themes involved in it. Sanity comes up a lot. So if that is something that is a trigger for you or a safety issue, this may not be the stream for you. But, we are going to do our best to tell this story in a meaningful and safe way. So, but without further ado, I guess I should say my name. Hi, everybody. My name is Celeste Conowitch, and I am going to be your keeper on your Call of Cthulhu adventure. But let's go around the table and introduce these fine folks. So, Eugenio, let's start with you. Who are you?
Who I don't know anymore. Hi, everybody. I'm Eugenio. Some of you might know me as DM Jazzy Hands from the Last Refuge podcast. I am a DM and content creator, mostly for D&D and some other stuff. Like I said, I have my podcast, The Last Refuge. I have some stuff on the DMs Guild, and I'm streaming here. Super excited to finally get to play with you, Celeste. I was talking earlier today. I'm starting another stream soon with 2 other people that I've known forever and not gotten to play with, and then I have you here. It's all very exciting.
2020 is the year of friends finally playing games together.
Friends playing games together that aren't D&D. Because my other one's a Dragon Age game, so none of the D&D apparently.
We're getting creative.
That's right.
And of course we have Kailey. Kailey, who are you?
Hi guys, I'm Kailey Bray. I'm the creator of Damsel's Dice and Everything Dice, the Princess Parody Show.
Heck yes.
That's me.
And, of course, we have, if you're at all familiar with Venture Maidens, you may know this person. But Sage, for the folks at home, who are you?
Hi, I'm Sage. I play Carbon Hilda right here on the Venture Maidens channel on Wednesdays, with off Wednesdays running Descent into Avernus. That was a very fast motorcycle.
Nice.
And also running a Dragon Age game on Fridays, which Eugenio will be guesting on next Friday.
I'm so excited.
Playing Dorian Pavis. So, get your butts ready, everyone.
I'm so excited.
Yes. Oh, man. All right. Well, this is our cast. The cards are drawn. So I guess let's get into some Call of Cthulhu, huh? So, this scene. It is 1920s San Francisco, specifically 1928, the same year the Sir Francis Drake Hotel opens. It's the most innovative modern hotel in the world. It's the place where movie stars come to enjoy classiness, just all kinds of amazing stuff. The 1920s was a very exciting time, especially in San Francisco, for a bunch of reasons. We are 1 year away from the Wall Street market crash that is going to shake all of the United States, and 2 years away from World War II, which is going to shatter the peace of the entire world. But for now, everything is booming in San Francisco. The art scene has exploded here. It's in full swing in Prohibition. San Francisco was the city in the U.S. that had the most bars per square mile in any city during Prohibition. So again, exciting time to be here. All of you live, work in San Francisco. We'll get to your stories in just a minute here. But as we begin our story, it is the evening Saturday, November 14th, 1928, and all of you are in attendance at this event. The Ladies' Curiosity Society of San Francisco is hosting a gala event to showcase a new artist, Marco Montoya, who is kind of making his name in the surrealist circles of the time. I mean, he's painting with contemporaries like Salvador Dali, Georgia O'Keeffe, Andre Breton, and he is a new up-and-comer in the field. And this event that you're in attendance at the Sir Francis Drake, these, the Weaver sisters who run the society, have spared no expense for just a lavish evening. They've rented a private room, of course, which has the bellhops bringing up illicit bottles of liquor into the room here. The champagne is flowing. Currently, there is a band playing as you look around this grand, very Renaissance almost styled ballroom with these large glass chandeliers, tables laid out. There are about 50 people here, so it's on the exclusive side. The Ladies' Curiosity Society has gathered a very specific fellowship of people that they enjoy and invite to all of their events. So let's go around the room here and say there's like a camera that's panning over this scene as the music is playing. It's jazz. It's amazing. The lights are going. The glasses are clinking as people are laughing and telling stories and enjoying the day. What do we see of Alejandro? Where is he and what does he look like in this scene?
So this is Alejandro's first time at the Ladies' Curiosity Society. He sort of heard about it and stumbled upon it and was actually a little surprised to have been invited tonight. So right now he's trying his best to not look as out of place as he feels for the moment. He's usually a pretty socially gregarious person, but he didn't expect to be invited tonight. So he's sort of sitting at one of the tables off to one side, currently on his own, just sort of looking around, loving the music, which is pretty different from anything that he heard back home on the regular. He is medium height, sort of medium length, straight black hair and these bright, striking green eyes that his mother and his grandmother also had, but no one else in his family has. So he's used to people commenting on the eyes. He's dressed as smartly as a med student would be expected to be. Yeah, can afford and like has the presence of mind to put together. So not super out of place, but like obviously there are those here who are better off and better dressed.
Absolutely. And the camera moves over and we see Ines. Where are you in this scene? And what do you look like?
So she would definitely be standing towards where like the food is being like coming in or coming out, or where trays are being passed, and she is just kind of leaning on a table and very carefully observing and just taking in the scene of everyone around her. She is making a careful study of each and every person. You can see she's kind of formulating stories or something in her mind. She's about 5'5", and she's just a ball of spitfire. She's got this light brown skin, and her dark, like just black hair is just meticulously coiffed in these finger waves that end in this very tidy bun. And she is wearing this velvet piano jacket with this rose motif on the back, and wearing a turquoise green shift dress, and a very sensible pair of black T-strap heels.
Sensible. You could run in those heels. Absolutely.
She could run in them. And she also has this like big like carpet bag of a purse that you can tell is just a life is in there. A lifetime is contained in this bag.
I guess. And the camera moves over once again and we see Faye. What are you doing in this scene? What do you look like?
Faye is getting ready to get up on stage. The band's been warming the audience up with some instrumentals. It wasn't time for vocals yet. She is dressed incredibly smartly, something red with sparkles. She's half Asian, half white, as polished and glittery and smooth as she can possibly be. She epitomizing the feeling of the Survey Strike.
Mm-hmm. The jazz era.
The jazz era, wanting people to feel like a little bit naughty, but really well taken care of.
Absolutely. So all of you are enjoying this event. You all have your own reasons for being here. Some time passes. You all have been here for maybe, 30 minutes or so. Things are just getting warmed up. Kind of the last of the guests are, the late attendees are starting to filter in now, and people are definitely like going towards familiar clusters of people. A lot of people in this room attend these events quite regularly. So you see these little like cliques forming about the room. But 3 women stand out to you in attendance. They are dressed all in like sort of austere black almost, very dramatic, like netting hats. And these women, it's a little bit hard to pin down exactly what their age is, but they are flying around the room like as just socialites, talking to everyone. They know everyone by name. And as this, you're kind of watching the scene unfold, one of these women steps over to you, Alejandro, and she kind of looks you up and down. So, you've never been to one of these before, have you?
I'm already on my feet. I haven't, but I was really thrilled to have gotten the invitation. I thank you. You are one of the, benefactors, yes?
Yes, Catherine. Or call me
Catherine.
Kathy.
Kathy
She holds out a gloved hand towards you.
And I'll take it and sort of look for a moment and then sort of very slowly go to put a kiss, but sort of wait for her to nod.
She's not giving you any indication. She's kind of got this like coy little smile, like as she's looking at you.
So he's trying real hard to be smooth about this. So he's like half an inch from her hand, and he nods and says, "It's a lovely glove." Anyway, Alejandro, I thank you, Kathy, for the invitation.
You're the doctor in training, aren't you?
Yes, that would be me. You have caught me at a bit of a disadvantage beyond your position here with the Ladies' Curiosity Society. I must admit, I don't know much about you.
Oh, well, what's there to say? 3 old ladies interested in, well, things beyond the normal world. It's rather dull, don't you think? It's more fun to believe in ghosts and fortunes and what you will.
I just sort of hold her eyes for a moment before I respond, just sort of seeing if there's anything else that she's going to say a little less frivolous about these things, because I have my suspicions. But eventually, then I'll just sort of nod and say, "Fun, yes, absolutely. It keeps things interesting."
Well, my sister Lillian said you are an absolute delight. It's very interesting to hear about neuroscience, this strange brain science and all. I'm sure she would love to speak to you more as the evening progresses.
She was a delight as well, and of course I'm happy to talk to her.
Of course. Well, why don't you get in there? Enjoy the party. And she sort of like pats you with like this like jeweled fan that she's been carrying around.
I think I will. Thank you, Kathy, and thank you for taking the time to introduce yourself.
Of course. Enjoy, dear. And she sort of saunters back off into the party. And Ines, while you are like standing there and like, like little spinach puffs keep coming past you occasionally, are you like really taking the food or just guarding the exit? What's Ines's like situation in this corner here?
She's definitely like very occasionally as one tray passes, she'll whoop snack one while they're fresh hot out of the kitchen. But mostly she's just eventually since she is here under the guise of being a palm reader for the guests, she will make her way into the crowd and be like, "Oh yes, darling, tell me, I sense a birth coming in your family, and we'll just like approach random people and just start doing the whole cold reading thing.
Oh yeah. And people are just absolutely loving it. And at one point, one of these women darting around sort of comes over to you as well, a different sister than the one who spoke to Alejandro, and is like, "Oh, I am just so delighted to have you here, Madam." I'm sorry, I'm terrible with names. What was it, Madam?
Evelyn.
Madam Evelyn, it is just such a delight to have someone as skilled as yourself in attendance at our event. You know what? I've been saving this through the evening, but why don't you do me? And she like starts pulling off a glove and is like, hands it towards you.
And she immediately pulls her over towards like one of those high-standing cocktail tables and sets her hand on the table. Oh, yes, I see. Oh, your Venus line, how it so curiously intersects with the Jupiter line. I'm sensing a very esoteric, very enlightening romance. That is
indeed an enlightening romance. That is quite good. And you are just.
Yes, and your lifeline. I would avoid ladders, my dear.
She is looking just like if a cat were looking at a mouse, like as you were saying this whole thing. She's like kind of nodding and blinking. Well, I can see that Kathy's money was well spent in bringing you here, my dear. Perhaps you should take a small break and enjoy a beverage.
Oh, why, that is most gracious of you.
What a delight. Like, smacks your hand a little bit too hard as she pats it. Kind of heads back off into the room here.
And this is like visibly trying to like hold in a straight face.
God. And at this point, Faye, the time has come for your first song of the evening. You know that you've got like a small set that's going to happen right now before they actually roll out the newest painting piece from Marco and do the unveiling on stage. So tell me a little bit about this set. What's your like, pre-event before we really get into the party sort of vibe? Tell me about this show.
The show, I always start with something that's familiar. People are gonna really enjoy something that's popular. It's been on people's minds a lot with my own spin on it. I love to always throw it to Dot, my roommate and best friend, on the keys, and we improv back and forth a little bit, like and just let people get accustomed to having a vocalist in the room and get ready to dance.
Oh yeah. And people are just loving your performance as you're coming up. They're clustering up against the stage and just clapping. And the crowd in this room is a very interesting mix of folks. It's not your typical, like, Sir Francis Drake crowd here, which is usually, the young and the powerful and the affluent. Certainly these people in the room are affluent, but they come from all kind of walks of life. You see a lot of different, like, hallmarks of different professions in this room. I mean, you have everything from, like, medical students who didn't expect to be here to detectives in disguise, and that's like, it's a very odd collection of people that you see in this room. So you're definitely having to feel it out as your crowd is a non-traditional mix of folks, but they do all seem to share this like love of the moment and love of being here. So people are getting very enthusiastic as this is happening. And what is your sort of the last, what do you close with before the unveiling?
I think I'll close with Ain't Misbehavin' this time. Something that's current, something new, but something that people will have heard enough to sing along to and really enjoy.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And, as you wrap this tune, and Dot, like, strikes that final, key, everyone in the room is clapping, and the final sister, who none of you have spoken to yet, Lillian, steps forward onto the stage, and she kind of, waves her hands to the room. All right. We've had a lot of fun here tonight, but things are just beginning. So everyone, if you wouldn't mind taking a seat. Thank you so much, Faye. Your band is just lovely. And don't worry, I will stop talking eventually. And after that, we will get right back to the music. Don't you fear. But for now, it is my honor to present the work of this, well, I've known this young man for many years. I've watched his talent just grow and excel. Marco's work surely will speak for itself. If none of you have had the privilege yet of seeing his work, I highly recommend you do so. We can talk after about purchasing some of his pieces. But this work, and as she kind of points backwards, she has like a couple of the wait staff bring in this very, very large canvas. So this thing has got to be like 6 feet tall, 4 feet wide. You know, they're wheeling it out right now and setting up this easel, and the whole thing is covered right now with this like red kind of drapery. This, Marco has said to be his latest masterpiece. This is the piece that will define him as an artist and finally put him on the map with those hacks like Dali. And there's like a laugh that goes around the room. So, not even I have seen this piece yet. And unfortunately, Marco couldn't be here tonight, but he made me promise that I would describe every detail of your reactions to this piece. So, are you all ready? And everyone around the room is like, yes. Good. Drum roll, please. And she just looks delighted, like as this is going off. And she goes and pulls this curtain off of the piece. And there's this collective moment of silence in the room, as what you see before you is one of the strangest pieces of art you've ever seen. At first, when you look at it, it looks like some kind of arcade, perhaps of columns that stretch out into the distance. And there's this strange sort of reptilian figure of just an impossible size that kind of dominates this painting here. And as you're looking at it, you're realizing that the angles of this painting are just wrong. There's something about it that just is like causing your brain to spin as you're looking at this bizarre geometry that's not of anything of this earth, and it sort of like penetrates and like almost breaks your mind for a moment as you look at this. And I need everyone to make a sanity roll.
Yeah, off we go.
First roll of the campaign. So sanity rolls. The way Call of Cthulhu works, we are not rolling d20s. Everything is typically based around a percentage die here. So all of you have that sanity score on your character sheet, and you are going to roll me percentage die, and you need to roll under that number. Otherwise, fun things happen.
It's the one to the left of what's like current sanity, and then there are two numbers, and it's the one on the left, right?
Yes.
Okay, great.
I got a 61 out of 70.
So you roll once.
Yeah, my current sanity is 70, so I rolled a 61.
Oh,
okay, got it.
I rolled under.
So you're good. So Ines, all right, we'll get to you in 1 second. How'd Alejandro do?
Alejandro did great. I got an 11.
Okay, wow, that's a super success. Wow, and how did Faye do upon seeing
I got a 22.
Okay, wow. So
Not bad.
all of you, let's tune in for a moment. How is it that your brains rationalize this? Or do you not pay attention to it? Or do you like just stop looking at it? Or like what goes through Alejandro's mind as you are confronted with this alien, bizarre creation?
It starts to creep in almost immediately, but the whole time I've been sort of very aware of everything going on around me as well. And so when I start to see people react to what we're all seeing, I think actually my curiosity and fascination about exterior stimuli on internal brain processes sort of kicks in. And so rather than also realizing it's kind of hard to look at, rather than focus on the painting itself, I actually really try and clock how different people are reacting, what their facial expressions are, if they're reacting if their motor functions are affected as they move around to get better looks at it, things like that.
Yeah.
So I actually only really glance at it for a brief moment.
Yeah. And how does Ines deal with this thing in front of you?
Well, as far as Ines is concerned, if it's not a painting of fruit, she doesn't really care.
She like really likes paintings of fruit? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
that's like her thing that she loves is just boring ass paintings of fruit.
Okay, I'm gonna mark that you have a bunch of those in your house.
Oh yeah.
Love her.
That's so much.
I love her so much.
And so as she immediately kind of like loses interest, like, oh, freaking weird artist. She does very much the same thing as Alejandro and starts just kind of looking at everyone else to see how they react. Because she wants to look to be like, oh, how should I be reacting right now? And it's like definitely looking at everyone else for inspiration.
Yeah. And Faye, how do you rationalize this thing in front of you?
I definitely feel myself getting a little sucked into the painting and starting to get a little almost cross-eyed with it. But then I feel the cool weight of the jade bracelet that my grandmother gave me, and it kind of anchors me back into reality. And I start looking around and checking on Dot and the rest of the band to see if they're as affected by this as I am.
Yeah, and as you all like kind of process, your own experience with the painting, you do start to look around the room, and people are not doing as well as the rest of you. As your band is kind of focused in on this painting, Faye, Dot lets out this horrible scream. Just like this piercing shriek that kind of sounds over this stunned audience. And she actually like flips the stool backwards that she was sitting on and kind of like begins to back away from this thing in horror. And you hear a couple other like muffled cries coming from around the room as people are just like covering their eyes or letting out these sounds, or some people like burst and like run out of the room. And you see a woman stands up and she goes, this and she like kind of like collapses, clutching at her chest as she falls to the floor. And you see like the sisters all move into action here. They're trying to like help people and calm people down, but a full on panic breaks out in this room as people are just like cannot deal with this thing in front of them. So what are you all doing in the mass of this panic?
Is that woman the only one who has gone down at this point?
Yeah, she's gone down and she is clutching at her chest.
Yeah, I'm going to head straight over to her, try some, stabilizing first aid, see if it's a heart attack or just
Yeah.
Nasusto, if she just got scared or what it is.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think just looking at her, you've had medical training. It definitely looks like a heart attack. She's clutching at her chest and like, just sweating, and it's very, so if you would like to kind of address that or something.
I mean, I would love to attempt CPR, but I don't know if that was a thing in 1928.
Yeah. Go ahead and make me a first aid
Sure.
check. Cool. First check of the campaign, Sanity. Second check, first aid.
First
I feel
aid.
Like we're doing good for
There it
a
is.
horror game.
Oh no. Well, that's an 80, and my first aid is a 60.
Okay, yeah. So you are like trying to, like get this woman like in good shape, and she is looking at you. You see her eyes are starting to like roll back in her head as she's like clutching up here, and you're doing all you can, but she goes cold. On the floor as this happens, so she's out unconscious and will definitely need immediate medical attention if she's gonna survive this, because she's sort of a robust woman like in her 60s, so not a great demographic to experience a heart attack.
Sure.
All right, and then what is Ines up to?
So she immediately plunges her hand as people start getting like anxious and worried and start like going into like panic mode. She plunges her hand into her purse, pulls out her flip ID and says, SFPD, everyone calm down. This is fine. We will all get out of here. Okay, just everyone be cool.
I'm out.
Yeah, at that point, yeah. So Faye, what are you doing? You booking it?
I'm gonna try and grab Dot and get her out with me. But the police are here. No.
Yeah. And Dot is like chattering and just staring at this painting and just like almost like, yeah. So go ahead, make me some kind of like maybe a strength or something to try and get her out of here. You could do a brawl if you wanted to like drag her.
I rolled a 12, which is pretty low.
Wow, that's great. Yeah, you can definitely. She just like catatonic falls into your arms, and you're like, go.
Oh, okay, in heels, and mine are not sensible, but let's do this anyway.
Yeah. And the band also, you know, they're like, oh my God, the fuzz. And they start throwing their instruments into cases, pulling what they can. You see the wait staff all like just books it immediately out of there. I mean, there's champagne everywhere. There is booze. Like the fact that a cop has shown up. Oh boy. So Inez, more people are panicking and running out of the room as they do this.
And then she'll look around for one of the sisters and be like, cover that back up, and point to the painting.
Yeah, and the one...
wow, that's really smart.
Yeah. And then Lillian...
Self-preservation.
Yeah, Lillian, who is standing on stage, you know, she's just very quietly staring at this painting, like just totally enraptured by it in the midst of all of this chaos. And as you say that, she sort of like blinks and looks back, and she's like, and she does. She throws that like red velvet thing over the painting. But at this point, like the chaos is just feeding into itself as people are stampeding out of this room. Faye, where do you go? The staff at the Sir Francis Drake probably has a plan for if the cops show up. It's not a huge secret that the Sir Francis Drake is the place you can come if you want to have a good time. So what's the plan? What does that look like to get out of here?
I'm going to say that there is a wall panel that covers a servant's stair.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm going to just kind of just like, I'm assuming someone else has already burst through it, and I'm just running through it too. And there would be an elevator. There would be an elevator, wouldn't there, at this point?
Yes.
2028?
Yes.
I am not an expert. I'm just going to say there is one.
No. Yes, there's an elevator.
There's an elevator, so that I don't have to carry Dot all the way down these stairs and take the elevator, sneak the elevator, take it down.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, you go, you make it, you have that fire plan to get out of here. And like as you get a couple floors down, finally Dot starts to kind of like respond to you, and she's like, What happened? We were on stage and
and then they uncovered that painting and everything went a little sideways. There's a cop, which is why I just got us out of there. Are you okay? Do you need some water or something?
No, I'm okay. It's all a little fuzzy, but I'm okay. Yeah, let's just get out of here.
What happened to you? What did you see that made you so upset?
I don't know. Last thing I remember, I was just up on the stage and we just finished our set, and they were, I don't know, at all. And she's looking around the elevator like she almost has no idea how she got here.
Okay. At the champagne before we started?
Do you have a cigarette?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and she just lights up a cigarette and just starts smoking.
Yeah, good idea.
She's like holding on to it like it's her lifeline. Just inhaling and kind of like shaking as she does so. All right, so most of this party is busted up at this point. There are a few people still kind of loitering around in the room, like we'll say like 10 or so. Most of these people are just like folks who are too old to just run out of a party. And the three sisters, of course, are like walking around. Somebody's already run to like go call a doctor, since this woman is passed out on the floor still. And Kathy will come up to you, Ines, and sort of like look at you knowingly, and then say, "So, we got the attention of the police at one of our little gatherings."
Well, don't be too flattered. It's not about what you're doing here. It's about who is here that I'm more interested in.
Yes, well, if you could, I don't know, can you call a doctor, get them there faster?
I'll be right on it. And she's going to run over towards the receptionist desk and immediately call the nearest precinct and be like, hey, we got a situation. There's probably going to be some weird shit happening. Be on the lookout for, heightened activity in this area and such.
Yeah. So with the police informed and, doctors called, everybody just in the room sort of either ghosts away if you'll let them, or like will remain, with the three sisters and the ruin of this party. And the whole time this covered painting is just kind of ominously standing on this stage here. So what does the rest of the night look like for you all? So like Alejandro, after everything kind of quiets down, what's your play?
Yeah, I would stay with the woman that I couldn't help until a more qualified medical professional arrived to sort of give them the rundown of what had happened to her and what I had attempted and all of that. Once that was sort of taken care of, I guess I would either try and find a moment with Kathy or what was the other one's name that I had spoken to before? Lillian? Lillian.
You spoke to Alice, I believe.
Oh, to Alice.
Oh, no, you did speak to Kathy. And then Lillian was up on stage, and Alice was the one who got her.
Right, and I think Lillian was the one that Kathy was like, oh, she said you're delightful. So either one of them that I could find a moment to speak with them, I would try and, I know they're probably quite busy, but I would try and get their attention.
So, I mean, in the wake of something like horrible happening like this, it's actually weirdly quiet, like standing around waiting for the cops to show up and like explain that story. The three of them are just sort of clustered around the edge of the stage, just sort of waiting for like whatever's gonna happen next. So you can definitely approach them. Cool.
So I guess I would, I mean, if they're all three there, that's fine too. And just sort of say, well, are all of your society meetings quite this exciting?
Lillian's like, no, not by a long shot. We were not expecting this, but don't feel bad, dear, for... And she kind of, like, indicates the woman on the floor.
Yes, we really need better resuscitation techniques here in 1928.
Hopefully she'll be all right. And they're looking at her like, not sure.
So, ladies, if you don't mind me asking, obviously that painting had a fascinating and unexpected effect on the guests here tonight. Do you know anything else about it? What inspired Marco or anything at all?
And they all sort of like nod sadly, like in unison. And then Kathy will speak up like, this is very strange. Marco's work is fabulous. I mean, he's been painting for almost a decade now, and we have many of his pieces in our own home. And this, whatever that was, this is not. I mean, he does explore the surreal. Don't get me wrong. That's sort of his style. But this was horrible.
I only ask because whatever it is that inspired him, however he learned to paint like this, obviously it has the potential to be quite dangerous, but also it is of particular interest to me the way that external stimuli can affect our mental processes, and it seems that he is onto something. At this point, I think Alejandro has been working so hard at med school that his immediate reaction is that there must be a scientific answer rather than what perhaps his grandmother would have had him believe. So he just says, on the one hand, we should, of course, be very careful with this technology or with this ability that Marco seems to have developed, but also I find it fascinating and would love to know more about it. It also seems irresponsible to not let him know what happened here.
Indeed. Well, Marco does live here in San Francisco, but he had to cancel attending this evening at the very last minute. He's away on some kind of trip. But if you give me where to ring you, I can certainly contact you. Perhaps arranging a meeting would be prudent with a medical professional. And they kind of like eye the covered painting up on stage.
I don't know that I would call myself a medical professional yet, but it does happen to have some particular interest to me, so I would very much appreciate that. Mm-hmm. Thank you, ladies. And if there's anything I can do to help you in the meantime, you need but ask.
At this point, young man, you should probably just go home. We will deal with the police as needed.
Yes. Well, I thank you for your invitation. It was an evening to remember.
That it certainly was. And what is Ines doing with all this happening? These three sisters are sort of looking at you like, all right, well, here we are.
Of course, she would take out her pad of paper and pen and begin taking statements from them because she knows she's going to have to file a report later.
Yeah.
And is not looking forward to it. So yeah, from her, from the three sisters, if they're willing to cooperate, from Alejandro, since he's still hanging around. Yeah, and then she'll head outside and before heading back to the precinct.
Yeah.
My statement's going to be long and talk a lot about how everyone in the room reacted.
She loves it.
Yeah.
She is so relieved to meet someone with like such a careful eye as her. She's like, oh yes, I noticed that as well.
Awesome. All right. And so the events of the day sort of play themselves out. Alejandro, you eventually leave and go back to your boarding house. Faye, you and Dot make it back to your house in one piece. A little miffed that maybe you won't be getting paid for a few days, but, so it goes. And then Ines, you stick around with the sisters and the police officer. They all come. Statements are taken. This woman, Margot Romano, is taken away in an ambulance. And the night is long and full of paperwork. And that's how things sort of wrap up. And then we're going to go forward in time. A week. What do you generally do in the course of a week? What does like a week for Alejandro look like? So this event was all happening on Saturday. So we're going Saturday to Saturday. So what do you do during your days, Alejandro?
Yeah, I mean, it is a lot of class and time spent at the hospital. And time spent holed up in my room studying when I'm not doing one of those other two things. I do think that I try to get into observe. I'm a little big for my britches as a first year med student doing this, but I do think like I want to get into the hospital and sort of observe, particularly surgeons, not necessarily just neurosurgeons, because that's very rare and specialized at this point, but just sort of any surgery that the surgeons will let me observe, whether from the gallery or in the operating theater itself. Yeah, I don't think maybe Friday night out with some other students, but sort of never the same group of students, and I don't know any of them particularly well because we all sort of go out and like just sort of sit very, very quietly so and tired. Very droopy. Yeah, you can spot us anywhere.
Oh yeah. So for you, it's pretty much a normal week. Really, the only interesting thing that happens is on Thursday. Activity around the medical ward is a little bit more interesting than usual. apparently a rush job sort of thing came in. There's been a murder in San Francisco, and the body was delivered to UCSF, and they are pulling some of the coroners, people to take a look at this sort of unusual case. So that's kind of the chatter going around campus at this point.
I mean, if I heard about it, I would probably, ghoulish though it is, I would probably just see if I could find out if the cause of death was sort of head trauma related in any way. And if not, that sucks, but on we go. Sure.
Looking at your skills, like what kind of skills would you use to get some more like information about what's happening here?
Goodness. Probably persuade. It appears that I do have persuade. So yeah, probably that.
Sure. Let's go ahead and make some persuade. As you're like talking to some doctors, you're talking to the coroners, you're trying to get a little bit more information about what's going on.
So I got a 46 and my persuade is a 50.
Nice. Okay. So who are you talking to, like in the coroner's division? Who's your contact down there?
There's a younger I don't know if he's sort of the assistant coroner. He's not an intern or anything. He's fully trained, a grown up, but he's fairly new exactly. Yeah. He's the low man on the totem pole. So I want to check in with him, Daryl.
Sure, Daryl. Yeah, and you find Daryl, like on an evening break. He's sort of like sitting outside in the main lobby, like eating a sandwich that has been wrapped in, a red and white checkered cloth that his mom packed for him.
Oh, Daryl.
And Daryl's quietly eating on this bench, and you kind of sidle up to him, and he's like, "Hey, Alejandro."
Hi, Daryl. Were you assigned to this case?
Oh, yeah. It's a weird one.
Yeah, that's what I keep hearing. Do you mind? And I'll sort of sit down next to him and pull out a thermos or some sort of container. Oh God, I really got to research 1928 more. With some coffee in it, and offer him some, and say,
No.
"Of course. I've had plenty for today, so don't feel bad about finishing this off. Do you mind if I ask any? Well, you know what I'm going to ask. Same thing as always. Any interesting head trauma? Anything that might be of note that I might be interested in?"
He kind of like looks around the room, and it's getting like later on in the evening, so there aren't a ton of people like walking around. He's like, "Well, I'm not really supposed to talk about it. The PD sent this one in. High priority."
Wow. Don't get too many of those. Well, of course, I wouldn't want you to endanger your position or anything like that, but, a little bit of information that's probably ultimately going to get out to the press anyway, right?
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I don't know everything yet. We're still waiting some of the labs to come back, but yeah, it's there was something very odd about her brain.
Oh, that perks me up right quick.
Yeah, it was kind of gross. It was liquefied. It was very odd, but there was no trauma, whatsoever, which is very strange. No other mark on her. Wow. The skin was kind of, I guess, grayish, but she was found in the water, so it could just be that.
Sure. Where was she found?
Down by the wharf. Just kind of bobbing around there early morning.
Has your office been able to identify her yet?
No ID. She didn't have any kind of identification on her, so I think PD's still working on it.
Fascinating. Listen, that's right up my alley, so if you find anything out, give me a shout. We can grab a coffee or a drink or something and talk about it, again, when you're able. I don't want to endanger your position, but
yeah, here the guys are going out tomorrow night. Do you need a You need
What
a
day is it?
buddy?
What day is it?
It's
Aw.
Thursday.
It's Thursday. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, it's been a long week. Sort of a weird weekend last weekend too. So yeah, I think I could use sort of a normal night out.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, my mom's telling me I should really like get to know people around here.
It's true. She's a lovely woman, Daryl, but she's not wrong. You know that.
Yeah, that's true. You know, she said, "You spend all your time with dead people, Daryl. You know what people are gonna say."
I don't know what does she think they're going to say.
I
That's
don't
rather
know,
specific.
but
Yeah, I don't either.
I'm sure she'll tell me.
I'm sure she will. All right. Well, I'll see you tomorrow night then, and give my regards to your mother, and thanks, Daryl. I appreciate. You know what? Keep the coffee. Finish it off. It looks like it might be a long night for you with this one.
Yeah, thanks, Alejandro. Yeah. All right, we'll take care.
You too. Good luck. See you tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Oh, Daryl. Oh, you
bless
sweet,
him.
sweet baby angel.
Ines, what does this week look like for you? Keeping in mind that something very weird happened on Thursday. Early Thursday morning, you got a call from some fishermen down by the wharf who had pulled a dead girl into their nets. So up until that point, what was Inez's week looking like?
So being a detective, you know, you're no longer that beat cop where you got to pull weird shifts. You know, she works a very sensible 9 to 5 most days, where unless she's got a big case or, you know, something that she's working on when she has to stay later. But so yeah, journal Monday through Wednesday, 9 to 5. On Wednesday nights, she goes to the local pool hall down in the Mission District, and she shoots pool with a bunch of her friends. She's known as Gumshoe Garcia, and she likes to hustle everyone.
Yes. I'm writing this down. What is the name of your pool hall, please?
Oh.
You did this. I must know.
Sunk.
Nice. Very good. I love that. All right. And so you're having a great night with your friends on Wednesday. You get home, and it's like it feels like you hit your pillow, and the instant you do, your phone is ringing. It's
Typical.
like 4 a.m. And the phone in your apartment is just. Also, tell us a little bit about, I think, Inez's apartment.
Yeah, so it's a studio apartment in a small apartment building in the heart of the Castro, not too far from Mission Dolores. And because she loves to be able to hear, even though she doesn't go to church anymore, she loves to still be able to hear the bells tolling for mass. It gives her a sense of comfort. And so yeah, it's just, you know, basic studio apartment, very buried. It's got like a bed, a dresser, a lamp, a couch, and a phone. Like barely any cooking stuff in her kitchen. She just never really, you know, was too interested in doing that. She eats out most of the time. And then many paintings of fruit in bowls.
Inez's story is coming together for me so well. Wow.
It's very, very tidy.
So 4 a.m. like it just shatters the silence as your phone is ringing, and you hear a broom burp, burp, burp from downstairs.
Of course. And she just like slunks onto the ground and like half crawls over to the phone. And, what?
Call coming in for you, honey. Do you want to take it? It's from the station.
I guess. Thanks.
All right, I'll put you through. The other side. Operator noises. She makes those noises because there aren't buttons. Plug, 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 plug. And a familiar voice comes through the phone. Hey, Ines, you awake?
I am now.
All right, you better get your ass down here. We've got a dead girl.
Fuck. Another one?
Well, you know, winter makes them crazy.
All right, I'll be there 10 minutes.
Right. Down at the wharf.
All right.
Pier
You
10.
want a coffee? I'll get you a coffee on the way.
Make it 2.
You got it, Frank.
And he hangs up without saying goodbye, as is typical of Frank.
Mm-hmm. And she very slowly is just like rubbing the sleep from her eyes, and then puts on her uniform. And then there's one coffee little like stand that she always stops at on Market, who she sees all the time, and so she gets a couple coffees and walks over to the wharf.
Yeah.
Takes F1.
Yeah. And when you get over there, you see the familiar cluster of cops kind of like scouting around the scene here. All the activity seems to be clustered around this smaller dock. So you're looking more at like not giant commercial sized fishing boats. These are more like hobbyists who have all their boats docked out here. And you see Frank, with his bristly mustache is like kind of commanding the scene at this point as he talks to a collection of fisher people who look very upset that they weren't allowed to go out for today's catch, presumably. This probably finding a dead girl in the boat, like, probably halted the day's activities. So as you like approach, Frank turns to look at you and just like sticks out a hand for that coffee.
Yeah, immediately passes it off. Cream and 2 sugars.
Yeah, this is a real pile of and he kind of like waddles away from these fisher people who are just like looking just so frustrated. And you see that pulled up kind of on like the rocky edge, like that borders this dock here. There is a body that has a sheet currently laid over it. And a couple on-site EMTs are standing around it, also talking to one of the officers. She washed up. Well, we're not completely sure, but the fisher folk found her. 3 a.m. So getting ready to go out for the day. She was tangled up in some nets. They left around here. No ID. Working on it. You know how it is. Girls like that. Pretty girls like that.
Yeah, seems like there's at least one a week at this point. And she just shakes her head like, ugh.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you can take a look, but the boys are stumped on this one. So
yeah, and so she'll head over there and see if maybe by off chance this was one of the people that she saw at the salon on Saturday, and we'll go over, lift up the sheet and start examining.
Yeah. So you pull up the sheet, and it never gets easier. But at this point you're used to it. You look down, there's a girl there. She's got to be like early 20s. Pretty girl when she was alive. She's got this like blonde haircut. She looks. Yeah, it's sad. Why don't you go ahead and give me some kind of check to see if you can recall this face, because now she is like, she's been in the water, you would guess, for a while, so her skin is kind of bloated and gray from the cold ocean. Maybe your cop skills, I don't know, observation.
Spot hidden, I don't know. Yeah, the investigator skills, I'm like, unless I can just make like a straight intelligence check, maybe.
Do an intelligence, and because you were like specifically looking at everyone there, go ahead and roll this with advantage. So roll the tens die. You're gonna roll twice, and you're gonna take the lower number of those. That's how advantage kind of works in Call of Cthulhu.
Nice. Let me grab. There's another one. So that is a 58, which is just under 60.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you look at this girl's face, and at first you're like, and then you're like, no, wait, she was in the band.
Oh.
This was the girl who was on the keys.
Oh.
Oh no.
You didn't catch her name, and she ran out of there real quick. So you don't really know anything more than that.
She'll motion Frank over, kind of like subtly come over here, and be like,
and he kind of and like excuses himself from his conversation and waddles over to where you are.
and she'll be like, "Do you remember that call that I made in on Saturday about the salon?"
Oh, yeah, the witch club or whatever, right?
Yeah. This girl, she was in the band. I saw her. She was there.
Oh, well, good. That's something to start on. Did you happen to catch a name?
No, I don't know. I'll see if I can call those weird sisters, Weaver sisters. That's the one.
Oh.
And see if if their band left a card.
Yeah, it's a good call. Did you catch the name of the band? Maybe we can put out some feelers.
No.
Faye probably would have said the name. Of the band.
Probably.
Faye, what is the name of your band?
Oh, that's the one thing I didn't think of to name. Oops.
It's called Oops.
It's called It's a Good Name, too.
Oops, it's a good name, too. Oh, great. Oh, okay. All right, well, you circle back while Ines is trying to remember what that name was.
We'll just call it the Gladstones.
The Gladstones. Okay.
It was the Gladstones.
All right.
There it is.
That was Sir Francis, right?
Yeah.
I think they keep a band on retainer. Ugh.
Yeah,
Well,
that would make sense.
We'll send a squad down there and see what we can get. But you all done?
Yeah.
Okay. Move her out, and the EMTs, bring over a stretcher and put the body in the back of this ambulance, where it is going to be transported to UCSF Medical Hospital. And Faye.
Oh my god. Okay.
So your week started out probably fine. What was your weekend like?
So our weekends, we work.
Yeah.
Saturdays and Sundays. So the time off that we take is Monday, Tuesday for just general chores and stuff. And then we start rehearsals again on Wednesdays. So the weekend, that was Saturday, right?
Yep.
So we probably got a little bit of a later start on Sunday, just making sure things were okay. Police were hanging around. And then it was a normal set.
Yeah.
But I would say that our keys girl was probably a little distracted.
Yeah. It's Sunday night when you're playing. Dot is she's just off. She misses notes. She just seems a little bit more scattered than usual. She apologizes profusely, for missing it. She's just, you maybe the band kind of talks to her Sunday after the set, and she's like, yeah, I'm just so sorry. I don't know what. I feel like I'm a million miles away.
You just shook up from yesterday, right? And it's just that was a lot. I mean, maybe you just need some rest.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Maybe I'll just. It'll be fine. I'm just a little bit. Having the cops called. This is sort of scary. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
It's fine. And you head home for the night, and Monday. Yeah, she just seems kind of ill. She's moving really sluggishly. She's just very tired. She sleeps 14 hours straight in the middle of the day. Comes up to get some food and then goes back to her room. When you wake up Tuesday, she's just gone, left in the really early morning there. And she comes back, 8 p.m. at night. And if you talk to her, she's like, oh, I haven't been feeling that good, so I went to Chinatown to see if I could.
You say, I can just grab stuff from my grandma. It should be fine. Stuff.
Yeah, I tried to go, and then I sort of just wandered around.
You shouldn't be doing that. I can get you. I can go and get you stuff. I mean, it's you. You did it for me last winter. You got me the matzo ball soup.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I don't know. I just feel just really tired. I don't know.
Oh, look, I'll go down to Grant's and she'll get you something. You're gonna feel it's gonna taste terrible and smell worse,
Oh, yeah.
but it'll get you all fixed up, okay?
No, I smell the things that you bring home. Okay.
Only under duress.
Yeah, and you bring her something, early Wednesday. What do you bring her? What does your grandma prescribe?
My grandmother never tells me what things are.
Yeah, that's.
I am too American.
Yep.
And she likes that I'm American.
Yeah.
So she's just gonna be like, "This is gonna fix it. Don't worry about it. Don't ask me what's in it. You don't need to know."
Yep. Absolutely. So you bring it back, and Dot steeps this, eats this odd combination of things, and she's like, "Oh, thank you, like, so much. I'm just really ready to start feeling better. I don't know what it is. And that's like in the morning on Wednesday. And then she comes back to you like bouncing at like noon, saying she's feeling like way better. And she's actually gonna go and step out for a bit and see this guy she's been sweet on for a bit. So she leaves for the night.
Don't do anything I wouldn't do.
Well, luckily that's a pretty short list. Bye! And she kind of like slaps at you and heads out. And Dot never comes back home. Wednesday night passes. And you're like, okay, maybe she'll be back in the morning. Thursday morning comes. No word, no sign for her, no calls. And it gets into the evening on Thursday. What do you do at this point? What is the rest of this time?
I go out to the hall and use the phone to call Dot's brother to see if she maybe started feeling ill and went to family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. The operator, clicks you through, and you get to Dot's house. And what's Dot's brother's name?
Abraham.
Okay. Yeah. So Abe picks up the phone. He's like, hello?
Hi, Abe. It's Faye.
Oh, Faye. Hey.
Hi.
Just a social call, or?
I'm looking for Dot, actually. You haven't heard from her, have you? Last couple of days? She's not been feeling well, and I lost track of her a little bit. She didn't come home yesterday.
No, she hasn't come down here in a while. No, we haven't heard anything. Should we be worried? When did you last see her?
Yeah, it was just the other day. I'm sure it's fine. It's just because she's been under the weather. I thought maybe she went home.
Yeah, no. I mean,
I'm sure she's fine. I'm sure she's fine.
Yeah, maybe mom or dad.
Well, she would have seen you. So.
Yeah. Okay. Well, can you call me when she comes?
Of course, and I'm sure she's just, a little wrapped up in something. You know how she can be.
Okay. Yeah. Well, and I'll call too if she,
Great. Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
Well, take care, Faye.
You too.
He hangs up the phone. You never get a call back from him.
It's Thursday right now?
Mm-hmm. So it's Thursday evening.
She told me she was going to see that guy.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd love to try and track him down.
Yeah, you know that he worked at like kind of a speakeasy out in North Beach, so Little Italy, which is mob territory, which isn't great. So you don't really remember what his name was exactly. You know, she was probably going to Vesuvio's. That's really all you know.
It's Thursday. I have rehearsal. I'm gonna go to rehearsal.
Yeah.
And see if maybe one of the trombone players will go to Vesuvio's with me afterwards, see if we can ask some questions without getting into too much trouble.
Yeah. Yeah. What's the name of the trombone player in your band?
His name is Cal.
Cal. Yeah. Yeah, and you show up for rehearsal, and the band is all sort of, they're standing around. There's a very glum mood kind of at this point. And they're like, "Oh, Faye, like, has Dot reached out to you at all?"
No, not to you guys either.
No. And kind of Cal steps forward. He's like, I got a real weird call from her. It was
When?
it was like Wednesday night. It was like 9, 10. I mean, I was only up. I was, practicing some slides. And yeah, she called, or I think it was, I mean, it sounded like her, but she was just, I don't know, it was like, she was like breathing into the phone, and I asked her if she was hurt or something. I don't know, there's just a very weird noise. And then she was crying, and then the phone hung up, and I tried to connect back, and no one picked up. So,
Cal, that was after I last spoke to her. I think you might have been the last person she talked to. Lately, like I don't know. I'm talking like something terrible happened, but I have this feeling, and I don't know what to think anymore. And
okay, well,
what sound was it? What weird sound? What did you hear?
I don't know. It was like a hissing almost. I don't know. It was weird. I thought maybe the phone was broken. What should we do? Should we go to the police? I
feel like that started this business. We started running from the police, and then everything she got so tired and ill ever since that night. I mean, what do we say? We are our friend who we sing in a band with at a illegal speakeasy is missing, and maybe she went missing with a mobster.
No, you're right. Well, did you go home? Like,
I don't know. Last I heard, she was going to Vesuvio's. Probably. I don't know. She was seeing that guy she was talking about, whatever his name was.
Yeah, and Joey. I don't know. Yeah, let's go look for her. You know what? I don't think any of us are really in the mood. Everybody's like kind of freaked out. Like, let's just head down there and ask some questions. Who knows?
Don't come on too strong, boys, because it's it's not our neighborhood.
Little Italy, yeah. Okay. And you all kind of roll out to Vesuvio's, and long story short, it seems like she just disappeared. You talked to the waitstaff. Nobody even remembers a girl by that description there that night. You're not sure if it's just because it's a busy area or what, but nobody recalls seeing Dot that evening. And so all of this is happening over the course of the week, and we come into Friday here at this point. All of you have sort of gathered this individual information. We're going to do 3 parts of the day here: morning, noon, and night. So why don't you all, let's see, I'm going to roll a d4 here. My morning person. Okay, it's Alejandro.
That tracks.
Okay. All right, and then Ines is my afternoon, and Kailey is my night.
Also tracks.
Fun. Alejandro, tell me a little bit about your housing situation.
Student housing near the USF Med School.
Yeah.
Single room, like I'm on my own in sort of a boarding house for med students. It's I'm not sure that you would know that someone lived there if you walked into the room.
Oh,
you
yeah.
might guess that someone was staying there.
Right.
I don't know about lived there. I feel that way about my apartment sometimes in real
Mhm.
life. But anyway, yeah, I mean, it's pretty utilitarian. There's not a ton of initially obvious sort of decor. I'm pretty tidy, so not, clothes strewn everywhere, whatever. There's a lot of books all over the place. For what it's worth, in the closet, there are sort of back behind sort of some stacks of books and underneath maybe a pile of summer wear. There are some decidedly not Western medicine textbooks back there. But other than that, it is sort of the tintype of an apartment for an overworked and underslept med student.
Yeah, absolutely. And then who kind of runs your boarding house? Like you probably have someone who lives there and just like make sure everything's okay. Who is that person?
Yeah, it's a couple actually. They have sort of run this house for a long time. It's Mr. and Mrs. This is the first thing that came in my head, and I'm going to regret saying it because I'm just going to think of Little Night Music every time we talk about them. But it's Mr. and Mrs. Armfelt.
Yes.
Yes, I love it. Wonderful. Yeah, and they, they're great. They always take care of you. Give you your messages, give you food every day. Doris Armfelt, so the wife of the couple, she will give you a stern look if you come in after hours. Because there is a very strict 9 p.m. Quiet hour. But this morning you are woken up by Doris's little rapping on your door, which you've come to be quite familiar with. Dear Alejandro.
Oh, morning, Doris. How are you this morning?
I am doing well, but you have a call. My dear, would you like to take it out in the main lobby? The woman on the phone, she sounds quite upset.
Oh, yes, of course. Thank you, Mrs. Armfelt. I'll be out in just a moment. And I'll hop up and throw on probably the clothes I was wearing yesterday, and head out.
Good, yeah.
Right, yeah. Head out. Wiping sleep from my eyes and genuinely confused because I think for a couple of days every time she came knocking, I was hoping it was one of the Weaver sisters calling. Yeah. But after they didn't call after like Tuesday or Wednesday, I think I sort of forgot about it.
Yeah.
So a woman who sounds upset, who's calling early in the morning, I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah. And so for this boarding house, there's one phone that is out like in the main kind of lobby reception area. So you can go and, shuffle down to this main like tiled hall here and like pick up the phone. On the other side, you hear a familiar voice. Speaking of the Weaver sisters. Alejandro, I apologize for calling you so early in the morning. Are you free to speak?
Yes, of course. What is everything all right?
It's Lillian, by the way. I don't know if and you hear like kind of a moving sound, like maybe someone's futzing with a cord on the other side of the line. Yes, dear, it's how do I say this? There is a predicament with the people who attended our event last Saturday, and we're sort of giving calls around to see if everyone is all right and invite you to a gathering of sorts to discuss what happened there.
Oh, it is very kind of you to check in on me. I'm doing perfectly well, thank you. But I will, of course, be happy to attend. Can I ask what has brought you cause for concern? Is everyone else all right? Apparently not.
It would be better to speak in person. I
Of
would
course.
clear your schedule for today, and we can send a car around immediately.
Oh, yes. I suppose if it's this important, yes. I suppose
It is
I
for
can
your
try and clear
own
things.
safety.
Of course, of course. I appreciate the car as well. Can I expect them? When can I expect them?
In 45 minutes. Are
Perfect.
you
That should be enough
around
time.
people at the moment?
I look around. I imagine that no one sort of loiters at this time of the morning in the
Yeah,
main
no,
room downstairs.
Yeah, everyone's either getting ready or they're already out the door at early morning
Right,
classes.
right. Yes, I'm on my own for the moment.
Get around people, perhaps. Sunlight, if you can. Maybe a public place.
Yes, there is a small a small taqueria on the corner near the housing near the boarding house here. I will go there. They are nice people and have some outdoor seating. It'll be chilly. I should bring a coat. Anyway, yes, I'll meet your driver there in about 45 minutes.
Wonderful. Look for the Black Duesenberg.
Oh, all right. I'll dress up a little.
Yeah, you're like, damn, that's a nice car. Okay. Yeah, so you can definitely, are you grabbing anything or what are you doing after this weird phone call?
I'll grab a notebook and I did spend a little bit of time again in those first few days after everything was fresh before like school got back in the way and everything. I did try and do a little bit of research about exterior stimuli and its effects on motor functions. So maybe if there's a neurological textbook or something that I have, I might bring that along as well.
Yeah.
But otherwise, just a notebook to take notes on and a coat.
Yeah. You grab your stuff, and how are you feeling about
You know what?
this?
And my medical go bag. Although I think that probably goes with me almost everywhere, but in particular this morning I make sure and I grab it because something's up, and I still feel bad for not having it that night of the party for that woman. Not that there's really anything in there that could have helped.
Bring
but...
your bag to a party. Yeah. No.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. How's Alejandro feeling about this?
Well, he did make the connection with the dead girl and Dot, so I don't know that he would put that together just yet. I think he's honestly not knowing exactly what's going on. I think he's probably more excited than anything. He had sort of willed himself with school to forget about everything over the course of the week, but he was fascinated by the effect that painting had. And as far as he knows, I mean, that woman sort of ended up being okay, or at least they took her to the hospital and she was still alive at that point.
She was. She's comatose right now, but she's still alive.
I mean, yeah, that's, again, it's a little ghoulish, I suppose, but I think this all is, since no one is yet dead that he knows of from it, I think it's fascinating and exciting to him more than anything.
Yeah, absolutely. So you head off to the taqueria. Ines, it's the afternoon of Friday. What does the station look like in light of everything that happened over the last 24 hours? What's going on? Oh, I think you're muted.
I'm so good at this.
Yeah. I'm a professional.
I came to work. So definitely in the precinct that she's working in, it's kind of weirdly quiet. Like everyone's just kind of like in a mood, and hardly anyone says more than like 3 words to someone else.
Yeah.
And so yeah, she's just been kind of stopping into places, going to the Sir Francis Drake, making phone calls, trying to figure out the name of the band, what her name is, and then trying to contact her family to give news.
Yeah. So you've been just working all day, and everyone around you is also like working, and it's we've all been awake for so long, sort of feeling in the precinct. And I think you're working at your desk when you hear the door open, and you see a woman kind of wanders in. And you recognize one of the Weaver sisters, the one who you read her poem, Alice. She is dressed, again, all in black, signature color, apparently, with this, like, way overdone hat for to be walking around, like, in a police station at noon, downtown. And she's sort of, tapping her gloved fingertips together and looking around at everything.
Ines immediately stands up and walks over to her and says, Ms. Weaver, I was just looking to call you.
Wonderful. Yes, you are the one I'm looking for. And I'm so sorry. Your real name this time, what was it?
And she laughs. Oh my God, words. I'm Detective Flores. Please follow me, and she'll lead them into an interrogation room where they can have some privacy.
Wonderful. I can't say I've ever actually been in a police station. It's sort of unimpressive, isn't it?
Well, when police stations look impressive, that's not really a good sign.
I suppose so. Well, I came here to speak to you, but now I'm in one of your interrogation rooms, so perhaps you should start.
Yes. I was wondering, do you know the name of the band that you all employed at the Sir Francis Drake for the function? One of the players is someone we're concerned about.
Oh, the name of I'm so bad with names. What was the, she seems genuinely like she doesn't remember. Happy Stone.
Well, have you hired them before, or were they recommended by the Sir Francis Drake, perhaps?
Oh no, they're the recommended band for the Sir Francis Drake, and they promised, they were the best, and the performance was wonderful.
Yes,
it's a shame we didn't get to hear more.
Yes, the evening ended rather abruptly.
Ghoulishly, yes.
Yes. Tell me, have you noticed anything odd since that evening? Have you felt any strange feelings or?
Well, that's sort of why I'm here to speak with you. You're a homicide detective, so I'm sure you're privy to some of the going-ons in this town, but, well, we are trying to collect everyone who was there that evening and rendezvous at our home this evening for sort of a chat.
Ines is trying to hide that's screaming inside. Just like, oh my God, that'll make my job so easy. But and containing, straight face. Do you really think that's wise? Do you have everyone's contact info who was there that evening?
Well, we're doing our best to get everyone who was in attendance there, but many of the people we were entertaining don't live in San Francisco, or perhaps are now gone on travel, or something strange has befallen them. But we're doing our best.
Well, I should certainly love to attend if I may be so bold.
Wonderful. Well, then let's leave right now.
Oh, yeah, sure. Okay. Yes. Let me just grab my things. And she immediately, runs over to her locker, grabs her stuff, and she leans over to Frank's office. Is like, I got a lead. I'll call you later.
He goes and kind of like shoots up from the stack of paperwork that he definitely wasn't napping on, and is like, "Yeah, okay. Call me if you need anything."
And then she immediately puts on her hat and gloves and heads out with Alice.
And Alice is like, That was a fine interrogation. The only one I've ever been a part of. It was very exciting.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
do come in again. I suppose if you ever get the itch.
Well, sure, if I want to start living dangerously. And she kind of like walks over towards this large Duesenberg car that is like parked outside of the station. And again, like this is downtown, not the best area. And this car just like shines out like a beacon of wealth in the middle of the street. And you see sitting in the passenger seat is like an impossibly tall man. If he were to stand up, he's like just, clearing the edge of the car here. Very pale skinned, like sharp, angular features. He kind of turns and like nods at you. And then sitting in the back seat of this car, Alejandro, why don't you describe yourself real quick? What does Ines see in the back?
Yeah, somewhat disheveled, because I don't really think I went back to tidy up too much. Somewhat disheveled, medium height, dark, straight black hair, bright green-eyed Mexican man sitting and just sort of scribbling something in a notepad. I'm sure that I would remember you, and I don't know if you remember me, but we talked for a while that night.
You see, she immediately recognizes you and was, yes, of course, I would. I mean, it makes sense. I would see you here. Good to see you again.
And you, officer, detective?
Yes, Detective Ines Flores.
Of course, Alejandro Huerta. It's nice to see you again.
And she kind of like gives like squints at you a little bit, and then in Spanish she says, "It's a pleasure to meet you formally."
The same in Spanish, and I will spare the non-Spanish speakers. So I say the same to you. Do you know who's in the car with us? Who's driving? Someone that we don't know is driving.
Yes, this man, when he picked you up, he introduced himself as Vladimir, and that has all.
Stop. Okay. Detective Flores, when we get a second, I have a few questions for you. I don't think they're related to this, whatever is happening here, but I'm a student at USF, and I wanted to bend your ear about something, but maybe later.
Oh, sure, absolutely. Yeah, be happy to.
Alice is kind of like buckling up in the front. She's like, "Well, if you would like to talk, don't mind me. We are running around the city, sort of collecting everyone today, so get to know each other."
Sure. I'm sure that it's probably an ongoing investigation, but there was an individual brought in to the hospital here for examination by the coroner, and I happened to hear that the circumstances around her death were somewhat peculiar, and I just wondered, I understand open investigation, but if there's anything that you could maybe tell me about it. It was something with her brain, I believe.
And she nods very slowly, listening to everything that you're saying, and she says, yes, that is most interesting. I haven't heard any details like that yet, but she kind of just like nods knowingly.
Of course. Like I said, I don't imagine it has anything to do with what's going on today. So certainly we can table the discussion for another time.
Yes. Today should hopefully be very enlightening.
I imagine that it will. How are you feeling, by the way? Who called me? Lillian. Lillian mentioned that some people weren't feeling so well. How have you been?
I mean, it's been a crazy work week, so I mean, understandably tired, but otherwise fine.
What is that charming saying? You're preaching to the choir.
Yeah, and you share pleasant conversation as Vladimir drives the car through the winding streets of San Francisco, and eventually comes to one of these very, very sharp inclines as you climb your way up Dolores Heights, making your way eventually parking in front of just this gorgeous Victorian house that's sort of odd compared to the other houses on the block. They've really embraced color, but in not like a tasteful, fun San Francisco way, in a just a like, wow, you're like purples and yellows and like these like puce color. You're like, ah, wow. And so, as the car stops, Vladimir like unfolds himself from this car, comes around and first of all opens the door for Alice, offers a hand, and she's like, "Thank you, Vladimir. You're such a dear." And he kind of leans down so she can pat his cheek. This guy does stand like almost 7 feet tall.
Jesus.
And he comes around and opens the doors for both of you as well with a slight bow.
As Ines sees the house, she'll lean over to Alejandro and be like, "I'm suddenly reminded of the painting."
Wow, too soon. A woman almost died.
Clearly, we are not the two PCs to really give that a ton of weight.
No.
Sorry, Faye.
And
Guys.
and Alice, welcome to my home. I apologize, this isn't under better circumstances. And she kind of walks up towards the front door and, starts fiddling with a bunch of keys, and eventually opens it up. And you see, that traditional long Victorian hallway opens up in front of you. The house on the inside, like, clearly the Weaver sisters have a lot of money. You knew that because they were funding these like lavish parties for the Ladies' Curiosity Society. And the word on the street is like they're 3 middle-aged to older women. None of them have ever been married. They don't have any kids. They choose to live with each other in this house. And no one's really sure where their money came from. People speculate that, they're a couple generations of Greek immigrants, maybe. So maybe they brought their money. But they're sort of mysterious figures in the society of San Francisco. But as you look at their place, it is just decorated with gorgeous large art objects, rugs, chandeliers as you look at it. But all of it is a little bit strange. Things like you would identify as like occult type objects. So you're seeing lots of like ancient Egyptian statues like lining this hallway, or paintings that are just extremely modern and abstract, like as you're making your way, kind of stepping into this home here.
Anything jump out as particularly Mesoamerican?
Yeah. Oh, definitely. So you look
Cool.
there's collections of, you're talking ancient Egyptian, you're talking like Mayan, Aztec, ancient Chinese. There's a
Cool.
whole amalgamation of this collection that kind of fills this house.
Cool.
And Alice just, makes her way like down this hallway. And you see a pair of double doors are open into this large sunroom that has a bunch of like couches and chairs that are already scattered about. And you see that there's actually a collection of people that are already in here. Very uncomfortable looking people that have been gathered. And Ines, with your observation of everything, you would recognize these as people who were at the event. You see a young, kind of mousy looking girl who's just like fidgeting in this chair here and just looks so uncomfortable in the middle of this like lavish space. And then you see you see another woman who's kind of like, she's looking around. She's got what appears to be like a splatter of something on her face. You're like, maybe paint? I don't know. But she's like looking at the art objects and just like staring at them in wonder. You see a man like in a prim waistcoat who just looks so over it, sitting in this room. And then you see, so these are the 3 people who are kind of clustered oddly around the living room. And then Kathy is also sitting with them, sort of sipping from a teacup to break up this odd, uncomfortable silence. Alice, it is wonderful that you have arrived, and you got Alejandro and Ines, it was, right?
Yes.
Wonderful. Would you care for any tea?
I would love some. Thank you.
Wonderful. And for you, Alejandro, anything?
Please and thank you, yes.
Fantastic. And she finds herself and then stands up and dodders off towards another room you presume is the kitchen. All right. Oh, yeah. Go for it.
Oh yeah, so Ines would get her tea and then would very casually go walk over to everyone and be like, I know that night was really weird, but did you all happen to catch the name of that band? Like, I have my cousin's wedding coming up.
I just really need the name of that band.
It would be really great to hire them because they were like so upbeat and great, and that singer's voice, like, and just start, casually, kind of like trying to very casually probe everyone, be like, about what they do, and sort of, and yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, immediately like the mousy girl will kind of like speak up, and she'll be like, "Oh yeah, no, I know they're the Gladstones."
Yeah, do you never that keyboardist? She looked really familiar. Do you happen to know what her name was?
And you can kind of like probe the room for the conversation and like get the general vibe of what's happening here. And the hours sort of stretch on as these sisters keep you in this parlor, like waiting, I guess, for other people to come. And we drift on kind of into the night hours here. So Faye, it's Friday night. It's a big night for you. Are you playing a show? Probably.
Yeah, I figured we'd be back at the hotel.
Yeah.
It's our spot.
Yeah. So you're back at the Sir Francis Drake. It's a little hard to go on. You've had to bring in like, one of the friends of the band to play keys, and nobody's in great spirits after having no idea, where Dot is. But it's an okay show. It's some like gathering of folks, some kind of birthday party. I don't really know. Your heart's not in it. And the show is winding down. Not a great party. It's like 11 by the time it's done. What do you do after the show?
I don't know. I mean, I guess I kind of look over to the band. It's like, you feel like...
Yeah, everybody's sort of that same,
No?
like, I don't know. Maybe we should just go home.
Should we just go home?
Yeah, usually Friday night, like, you're, have a great time with the band, but everybody's just, like, kind of shell-shocked, not really sure what to do. Yeah.
We need some air. I'll take, like, maybe I'll just, like, walk home, take the long way.
Sure.
Just...
Yeah. Yeah, and you're moving through the familiar streets of San Francisco. A pattering of rain starts to fall. It's November, so it's kind of cold. You're bundled up, and like it starts to just drizzle down on you, and you're making your way, cutting through sort of a familiar alley. When you hear like a rattling sound coming from behind a dumpster, very close to you. What do you do?
Is it dark, or would I be able to see?
I mean, it's definitely dark. There are street lights on that are away from you. It's cloudy. It's hard to see. It's very dim. You can peer into the darkness, but you can't see very far.
I'm gonna put a hand on my handbag, like as like a blunt weapon, and like take a little bit of a closer look, but don't move too far. My breath a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. You hold your breath and kind of like creep close, and you're just expecting probably someone sleeping behind the dumpster, something like that. And you go and you look around. You see like stacks of crates, trash, smells terrible, but you're kind of looking, peering around. There's nothing there. The rain is starting to fall a little bit harder, so You're getting a little bit more wet, but you're looking. There's nothing.
Do I still hear the rattling?
No, it stopped when you moved over.
Can I look around? Like, is there something that's been like moved? Does it look like?
You're looking, there are like cans, everything that are kicked off to the sides, but it's the strangest thing. Nothing's happened. Oh my God. Greetings, adventurers. 82 Raiders. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Call of Cthulhu.
What up?
Wow. Oh,
hey, everybody.
thanks, Nika. Wow.
Woo-hoo.
Y'all are great. We're getting into some mess right now. Our Call of Cthulhu game. Faye, our jazz singer, is walking home late at night in the dark, and it's raining. So, Call of Cthulhu. So you look around this alley space here. There is nothing. Yeah, and you can hold your purse over your head now, like as that drizzle is starting to fall. So there's nothing there. What are you doing?
Dot?
Yeah. Just the pattering of rain greets you. I think we're gonna cut away for this moment.
Go home, yeah.
So Alejandro and Ines, you have been like held hostage in this living room with these ladies drinking tea for like 5 hours now at this point. It's just the night is stretching on. Nobody really seems to explain to you exactly what's happening, but you're waiting for more people. And it's about 10 o'clock finally, so the night is really dragging on, when all of a sudden Alice kind of like springs up from her chair and she's like, we have to go now. I think it's happening. And she looks over at Kathy, and Kathy's like, go get the car. I'll stay with them and just keep them safe. You go. And Alice is like, oh, okay. She grabs her like purse that you've seen she's been carrying around. That's, again, Ines, it like rivals yours in terms of bulkiness. Alice slings this bag over her shoulder, and she's like, any of you good in a testy situation?
Yes.
Okay, you,
She
Ines.
looks like.
Come with me. Hurry. And this like little old lady is like scattering down the hallway like, doctor, maybe you should come too.
I was just going to say, looking around to see, I don't see anyone else of the staff of USF, and obviously I don't trust any other hospitals in the area.
Yeah.
So not seeing anyone, I will, and also just really like appreciating Ines's powers of observation along with my own, I will follow as well.
Yeah. And Alice like guns it out of this house here. And you don't know how, but Vladimir is already waiting outside and the engine is started by the point you go. And this woman just moves like lightning as she gets into the car.
Yes.
And she's like, go. And like just like you peel out in this like wealthy vehicle off into the night as rain is just pattering down, hitting the streets all around you. But Vladimir seems to navigate through the mist with no problem whatsoever as you're swinging around corners and down those steep hills of San Francisco. And Faye, you walk out of this alley. There's nothing. Your friend doesn't respond. In fact, you probably even feel a little silly for calling out her name into the darkness. And you're holding your purse over your head again, and it happens one more time. There's just this clattering sound, and for sure something this time, like a garbage can got knocked over or something. And you begin to hear this very low hissing sound that's sort of behind you, and you swear you feel a breath on the back of your neck.
No.
Cal, if this isn't funny.
There's no answer.
Is there anything behind me?
No, you don't see anything.
I turn and immediately start walking for home.
Yeah, and you're speed walking, and the hissing grows and grows louder, and you feel something swipes at your bag as like raked feels like claws almost like hit like just at your side, and they like tear the fabric of your dress as this happens, as there is something definitely behind you that is now hissing louder and making these sort of just mouth breath noises coming from behind you, but you can't see anything. Go ahead and roll a sanity check for me.
Oh my god.
As this invisible thing
Oh no.
assails
no.
you.
Oh no!
This is what we get for all rolling so well.
85.
Ooh, this is fun for me now. Okay.
Oh no.
I would like you to go ahead and roll a d6 for me.
Okay, this is gonna be fine.
Oh no.
Did you roll a 6, girl?
Did you? All right.
Come on.
So the way losing sanity works in Call of Cthulhu, if you lose 5 or more sanity at any given time, you go temporarily insane.
This tracks. This is fine. I'm fine.
So as this invisible thing attacks you and you feel the rake of claws and you can hear it, but you can't see anything in the darkness. Nothing about this situation computes at all. What is something, how do you think Faye's mind would break? How would she respond to this? Is it loud? Does she go like quiet? Does she run? What's Faye's temporarily insane response to this horrible thing?
I think she would probably take out her little baby 2-shot Derringer and just
start firing.
Just fire willy-nilly.
Yeah, absolutely. Why don't you go ahead and make a luck roll for me as you're just firing your gun off?
That's still percentile, right?
Yes. Yeah, so it kind of works like sanity where you want to roll under your luck.
Oh my god, an 82. This was Dungeons and Dragons. I've been doing great.
You'd be killing it.
A 92. Oh man, so your mind
82.
Yeah, which is above your luck, right?
Very, very much so.
Yes. Yeah. So you are just, I think you're screaming also as this is happening.
Oh yeah, I'll start. Definitely screaming, crying, shooting. I've thrown my bag somewhere in one direction, shooting in the other, screaming Dot's name.
Yeah. And as this happens to you, you kind of find yourself falling backwards. You're not sure if it's from like the force of the shot or what, but you feel something heavy that's sitting on you, and you feel the drip of something like courses down your cheek as something is slobbering onto you that you cannot see. And it's in this moment that you hear the cut of a wheel, like tires screeching somehow. And Ines and Alejandro, you have been like holding on for dear life as Vladimir has been like charging this car through the streets. And you see Alice, like as you turn this corner, there is a girl that you recognize from that party. She was the singer. She is down on the ground. You see her, like the fabric of her clothes is torn, and she seems to be fighting with something invisible on top of her. And she's waving a gun in the air as this happens. And Alice kind of screams and pulls something out of her purse. And you see a sawed-off shotgun moves out of the window, and you hear like ripping off into the night. And as a sign of fate, it's just this sound of like chaos and noise as something screams. Alejandro and Ines, you don't see anything, but you hear this reptilian shriek carries through the air, and you see sprays of greenish blood come from something that you can't see that's on top of the singer. Alejandro and Ines, why don't you go ahead and make me sanity rolls as this is happening.
56.
Okay.
I'm okay.
A 1.
Wow,
yes.
That is the ultimate success of forever. So Ines, what do? You are so cool in this moment. Like, what does Ines do in response to everything Ines is seeing?
So she goes into emergency protocol protect and serve mode, and like as like this car, like once they get up within, within like 20 feet, she will tuck and roll out of the car and immediately run to try and protect Faye, because she's like, something's going on. This woman, and we'll, try and be like, try and assess the situation.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think you throw open the door of the car, you do a tuck and roll, and you like get to this girl who's just screaming on the ground. Whatever that thing was that you can't see, it seems to have been thrown back from Faye, because now she's kind of like sitting up and like shaking on the ground. So you can definitely like scoop in and, wait to see if anything is going to come back here. Alejandro, how did you get through that moment? What is your brain doing that makes this okay?
Well, I think it's a combination. So there is someone in the car who did just pull out a shotgun.
Yeah,
so that's fairly immediate and distracting.
Yeah. Sure.
Also, similar to Ines's emergency protect and serve, mine is like an emergency, like assess the situation, like the medical situation. So rather than focusing on the green blood, I'm like really looking to Faye to see if there are obvious injuries. I'm not going to tuck and roll out of the car, no. But when we come to a reasonable stop, I will exit and examine the patient. Yes. So I'm just trying to get a good idea of like, how badly is she hurt? Did she get hit by the shotgun?
Yeah.
Fucking Alice.
Yeah. This car like comes to a stop as like Vladimir courses it into like a 90-degree angle, so the beams of the headlights are shining down this alley where this thing probably retreated, I guess, back from her. And Alice, steps out of the car again, like this tiny woman just holding the shotgun off into the darkness. And she like reaches into her bag and tosses something towards all of you who are kind of clustered around Faye. And Alejandro, you can see that Faye is had some kind of psychotic break here. She's in shock. This is not a good situation.
Obvious physical injuries?
No, it doesn't look like. I mean, some scratches, but nothing like super harmful.
No obvious claw marks. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And so it's when you're all kind of clustered around Faye, you start getting pelted with whatever Alice threw at you, and you see that they are these like strings of like herbs and like garlic things that have been like put together into these like poultice bags that she's just tossed at all of you. And she kind of, stands like looking down this alley for a moment as like the rain is now just pelting down, plastering her like black hat to her skin. And she turns and she's like, all right, I think it's gone, but this is what I wanted to talk to you all about. And I think with that, we're going to end the first session of Call of Cthulhu.
Yeah.
Yay! Thank
this
you.
Has been fantastic. Oh my God. At edge of my seat.
I know.
Thank you, everyone, so much for stopping in. I had a really great time running this. And remember, this is the first of a 5-episode series, so this is just the beginning. We've got a lot to go in a little bit of time, so things are just going to ramp up from here. But thank you all so much for stopping by. I have been Celeste Conowitch, your keeper. And Eugenio, tell the people again who you are, where they can find you when you're not here.
Hi, everybody. I'm Eugenio. Some of you may know me as DM Jazzy Hands. You can find me on the Twitters at DM Jazzy Hands. I'm the DM for The Last Refuge, an actual play D&D podcast that you can find on Twitter at DND Last Refuge. And you can get all the other places you can find me from one of those 2 Twitter accounts. If you're going to PAX East, I am packing up tonight and leaving tomorrow. So if you're going to be there, drop me a line. I'd love to say hi. And thanks so much for hanging out tonight.
Yeah. And Sage, who be you? Where can find you?
So
I'm out
Sage.
of words.
You said so many already.
You did, and they were all so good.
They were such good words.
They were.
So good words, in a great order. I am Sage. You can find me here Wednesdays and Fridays, and now Tuesdays here on the Venture Maidens Twitch channel, running and playing in various things, and you can follow me at Staff of Sage on Twitter.
Yes, and Kailey, where can the people find you?
Hello, I have been Kailey Bray. You can find me at Hop a Barbarian on Twitter and at Dice and Nice on all the things.
Yay! And again, my name is Celeste Conowitch. I am a designer in the world of role-playing games. If you want to learn more about all the things I stream, podcast, edit, and write, check out celesteconowitch.com or follow me on Twitter @cconowitch. Thank you for stopping by the channel. Tonight, we are going to be back with another episode of our Descent into Avernus campaign, DM'd by Sage.
Yes.
We literally just got to hell, so things are going to get very spicy. It's a very good time to get in there. And then, of course, this is Venture Maidens. We make an actual play podcast, D&D, that I usually DM. So this was a big deviation from that. So thank you all so much for sticking with me while I'm learning a new system. This is very exciting, and I have wanted to play this for a long time. So if you want to check out more of what we do, you can always check out venturemaidens.com, but definitely follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, @VentureMaidens everywhere. But you all are so wonderful, and oh my gosh, we don't have a tagline to end.
Oh.
Cthulhu away!
Yeah, okay, I like it. We're gonna,
Okay.
on the count of whatever, we're gonna say,
Whatever.
God, can you say it again? I'm so hyped.
Cthulhu
away. Okay,
away!
all right, on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Cthulhu away!
Ooh, that was good. I liked it. Bye, everybody.